Is a $300 an hour lawyer more or less expensive than a $500 an hour lawyer? And are they more or less expensive than a $700 an hour lawyer? And are they more or less expensive than a $1,000 an hour lawyer? How do you know which one is going to cost you more and which one's going to cost you less? You want to know what the answer to that question is? You don't. You don't. Because if a $1,000 an hour attorney can solve your problem in 3 hours, that costs you $3,000. If a $200 an hour lawyer takes 100 hours, that costs you $20,000. And then if a $1,000 attorney is going to get you a better result than the $200 an hour attorney, well, if the ultimate price of the $1,000 per hour attorney comes out to be $10,000 in the end, and they get you a lot better result because they're obviously a better lawyer if they're going to be able to be receiving $1,000 an hour from as many people as they're willing to serve to do it. Because most of the time, for my hourly rates, I increase my hourly rate only when I have too many people and I can't do all of the work. So I have to raise my rate to kind of balance that out. That's how we do it. But that's not the only reason. Every time I've increased my hourly rate, I also increase my efficiency and my effectiveness. So have the ultimate prices of the cases gone up? And are we competitive with everybody else? Yes, we are very competitive. And our pricing actually is, in a lot of cases, very, very, very good. Sometimes it's expensive, sometimes it's not. But it depends on the case. And it depends on what your goals are. The way that you shop for an attorney is that you need to find out why the attorney does what they do. And that is very, very important. The reason why our law firm does what we do is because we are trying to get our clients through the divorce process in the healthiest way possible. The next important factor that you need to know is, how do they operate with their workflow? Do they have a legal assistant? Do they have a paralegal? Do they have support staff? Do they have an administration for their law firm? Do they have different people that do different tasks? Because if you have an attorney who is $300 an hour but doesn't have a paralegal, that means they're charging you $300 an hour for work that probably their paralegal would be better at and would only cost $200 an hour. So if they're billing you for at attorney rate for stuff that they could have assigned to a paralegal, they're actually overcharging you $100 rather than doing a $200 an hour paralegal work. Our paralegals at the things that they do are generally better than if I was to do it. So if I was to go in and have to do something, my rate's $700 an hour as I'm making this video. Well, that means that I'm doing something that they could do more efficiently. And then a lot of times also, if I'm at $700 an hour and I need help to do it, if I can do it in 2 hours alone, or maybe it's 2.5 hours alone, or I can do it in 2 hours, or let's say it's an hour with a paralegal or an hour and a half with a paralegal. $700 for 1 hour of my time plus an hour of the paralegal time is the 2 hours that it took, which is a total of $900, as opposed to an attorney who's $400 an hour that took the 2.5 hours to do it. They're charging you $12. So the $700 an hour attorney is less expensive than the $400 an hour attorney. You need more information than just what's the price. Next thing is the retainer. That's just the down payment. How do you know whether or not a $15,000 retainer or a $15,000 retainer on somebody who's $700 an hour with the support staff versus $400 an hour with no support staff, the same retainer? That's just the down payment. How do you know how much the thing costs? And how do you know whether or not you're buying a Porsche for $15,000 down or whether you're buying a Yugo for $15,000 down? And if the car is going to wind up being the same price, wouldn't you rather get the Porsche than the Yugo? How do you know? You've got to have more information. You need to know about how their business operates, their business practices. You need to know about why they do what they do and what their goals are, and then what their rates are and what the retainer is, which is the down payment. Just because it's $5,000 to start, it doesn't necessarily mean that your monthly payment's not going to be another $5,000 a month, or that the ultimate cost is going to be any different. It's very important. You need to know all those different things. And you need to get an attorney that can also tell you something like, what is your average case size out of the cases that you did all last year? But what was the average case size? And how does my case compare to your average case? And what is the range that I might be looking at for the ultimate price? Because the people that walk into a car dealership and only care about what the down payment is are foolish. You need to know what the entire total cost is. When you're financing a car, you need to know what the entire full cost of the car is. Not just, hey, what is my down payment and what are my monthly payments? Ideally, pay cash. And ideally, when you're hiring an attorney, you need to give them a budget and say, here is what my budget is. Can you get it done for this? And then based on different budgeting factors, there's a lot that you can do. There are certain tools. It's just like getting somebody to the airport. We can put you on the city bus. We can put you on the train. You can walk. You can ride a bicycle. You can hitchhike. You can ride share with 5 other people. Or you can get an Uber, or you can have a spouse drive you, or you can get an Uber Black, or you can get a helicopter to come pick you up. Law firms are very similar to that. There are law firms that are like taking the city bus, and there are law firms that are like taking an Uber Black to the airport and taking a private plane. Or if you're taking a plane, are you sitting in coach? Are you sitting in first class? Or are you sitting in a private plane? What's the difference? Those are the type of things that you need to know and understand about a law firm. And that's the reason why it's important to go and talk to and pay for a consultation with a law firm. Any law firm that's giving you a free consultation in the areas of family law, divorce, child custody, those are going to be your lesser valued law firms. Why? Because they don't have enough business to even value the time to sit with you. And you're probably not going to get legal advice on that. The area of law that's appropriate for a free initial consultation is personal injury cases, catastrophic death cases, medical malpractice cases, any kind of injury to the self where they are going to be taking a percentage of the case at the end. That's not what happens in any kind of family law case or business litigation or different things like that. Most lawyers, you have to pay for a consultation, and you want to pay for a consultation. Why? Because on a paid consultation, they can give you legal advice. On a non-paid legal consultation, they're not going to particularly be giving you legal advice. There's no journey that you're going to go through where the consultation is the beginning of the process, and you can determine whether or not it's a good fit for you. A discounted consultation is okay, but you at least want to pay an amount for your consultation if you're going to be doing family law.